The censure vote today had its genesis with statements that I made on the floor of the House. I went to hear the joint session, to hear the president speak, and my intentions were related to leaving the floor, not to disrupt, not to speak. I had my coat and I was about to leave. And as I was about to leave, spontaneity, I suppose, became an issue for me because the president made a statement that I didn't agree with. He said he had a mandate, and I wanted him to know that he didn't have a mandate to cut Medicaid. All of this is about Medicaid and trying to protect health care for poor people. That's what all of this is about. I'm hoping that we're getting a message out that Medicaid is something that we cannot cut. It has been so shamefully implemented. In the state of Texas, the government, federal government, accorded the state of Texas $100 billion for Medicaid to expand the program under the Affordable Care Act. The state of Texas rejected $100 billion to help poor people have health care. I am of the opinion that if we send more money to Texas, or attempt to, it won't be spent on poor people as intended. So I'm doing all that I can. After I said to the president, you don't have a mandate to cut Medicaid, the speaker said to me to take my seat. He admonished me, as he should. That's what the rules require. I continued. I received another admonition. At some point, he instructed officers to come over and escort me out. The speaker did what was required of him. I'm not angry with him. The people that escorted me out were kind to me. I'm not angry with them. I left. At some point, it was decided that I would be censured. I have said that I would not, that I would accept the punishment. I would accept the punishment. And this emanates in part from when I was in jail with John Lewis. We talked about protest, peaceful protest. And one of the things that he encouraged and inspired me to understand was that with peaceful protest, you have to get in the way. You've got to be disruptive. But you also have to be prepared to suffer the consequences for your action. So I was prepared to suffer the consequences. When Dr. King was disruptive in Birmingham, they put him in jail. He was prepared to suffer the consequences. That's when he wrote the letter from the Birmingham jail. But he was prepared. So I was prepared to accept the consequences and suffer the consequences. Today was a day for me to receive the consequences. I never said I agreed. I never said I agreed with this, because it is important for some of us to take a stand for people who don't have the health insurance we have. I've got the best health insurance in the world. If something happens to me right now, there's a physician waiting to attend. Poor people don't have that. I'm standing up for those people who can't be here to stand for themselves. And as a result, today I was to have the consequences presented. I felt it important to do something that the president has done consistently. And to be quite candid, the gravamen at the root of all of this is the president's use of incivility to take advantage of our civility. The best example of this occurred when he, at the joint session of Congress, called Democrats, he didn't use Democrats, but he pointed to them, lunatics. This is the President of the United States of America. Joint session of Congress on national TV, called members lunatics. No censure, no reprimand of the president for his behavior. He takes advantage of our civility with incivility. Today, I wanted to send a message to the president. Incivility can also be used for good. Today, when we sang "We Shall Overcome," that was our incivility, saying to the president, We are not going to continue to allow you to use incivility against our civility.
10 of your Democratic colleagues voted in favor of the censure. What was your reaction to that, and what's your message to them?
I voted present, and I voted present for a reason. And I said this to my colleagues. I want you to vote your conscience. Vote your conscience. What I have done was a question of conscience for me. Vote your conscience. Let your conscience be your guide. Do this. Vote your conscience. Don't follow the lead of someone. Vote your conscience. Vote your convictions. Stand where you believe you should best be in these turbulent times. So I assume that they voted their conscience.
Do you think your colleagues on your side of the aisle are doing enough to push back against the Trump administration and Republicans right now?
When I leave Washington, D.C. to go to Houston, I take a plane. I suspect some people can drive, others can take a train. When I was a much younger person, I used to do what's called hitchhike. I did it around the country. There are many ways to get to Houston. There are many vehicles. We may take different vehicles, but we're all going to the same destination. So the vehicle that I have chosen, others may not deem appropriate for them. I don't condemn them or hold any ill feelings because they choose a different vehicle. My only prayer and hope is that they will accept me and the vehicle that I have chosen, and that is peaceful protest. I think that we've reached a point now where we have to have peaceful protest, where we're going to have to be disruptive, and we have to be disruptive peacefully. When the officer comes, you have to go with the officer. When the key is turned in the cell, you have to wait until you have an opportunity to continue with your vindication. The point is, we have reached a point where incivility is prevailing. And the antithesis of this type of incivility is peaceful protest. That's where we are, in my opinion. I plan to use peaceful protest and impeachment.
Do you have any regrets about your actions during the speech or the way things played out?
When I spoke in the well of the House yesterday, I was afforded the opportunity. I explained that what I did was done with intentionality. So I cannot now retreat and say, I didn't mean to do that. I knew what I was doing. It was peaceful protest. When you engage in peaceful protest, you have to be disruptive. You've got to get in the way. But it doesn't mean that you are going to agree with the consequences because you know that what you're doing is righteous. This is a righteous cause, standing up for people who may lose their health insurance. So it was peaceful protest. And I have to be candid with you. If the circumstances presented themselves again, I would do it again, because this is a righteous cause. It's about health care for people in the richest country in the world who won't have it if we don't have Medicaid for them. The richest country in the world, where health care is too often wealth care. People who have money get the best. People who have less get much less health care. I want to add, I hold no ill feelings toward the Speaker or any of the members who differ with my approach. None. I say to them, be guided by your conscience as I am guided by mine.